All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Limitless Mindset Podcast. I apologize for the absence. I didn't get a chance to get in and record last week just because, honestly, life has been crazy. We've been dealing with moving offices, getting it into location, getting this place wrapped up. I'm excited to share we finally have made it into our new office, just getting everything dialed in. Still putting some stuff away, still wrapping up the upstairs podcast room so I can get back to recording consistent content for you guys. But today I wanted to get on here today. I finally got caught up with my morning. It's been crazy. And I wanted to come in and record something that we had talked about on one of my private coaching groups. But honestly, the topic was important. So I wanted to come and share it with some of you guys on the podcast as well today. And share some techniques on what you guys can do to elevate your circle, elevate your quality of life, elevate the people that you guys are bringing into your lives to honestly help you guys get to that next level. You guys have all heard it. You guys have heard me say it many, many times before that I truly, firmly believe that you guys are the result or the sum of the 5 people that are closest to you and you spend the most time with. Generally, these are going to be the people that you somewhat, mimic, or some of their habits, the way they do things are going to rub off on you and vice versa. So with that being said, I've always kept it in mind that it's extremely important to have high quality, high caliber people in your guys' lives. Now, the topic I wanted to talk about today is how to get yourself into a proximity of power with powerful people, basically. And when I say powerful, I don't mean, Thor with a large mallet out there. What I'm talking about when I say powerful people and put yourselves around people with positions of power are people that are much higher up in life than you guys are, that you are aspiring or attaining to move yourself into their direction. This is a question that I get a lot. I get this from a ton of people like, hey, how do you get in contact with people that are much higher up? How do you build a relationship? How do you build connections with these people? And I wanted to share with you guys how I do it and ways that I've learned and different techniques that I've learned on how to get in front of some of these people that are further up than you guys are, maybe up the ladder, these people you aspire to learn from, these people that you aspire to have mentor you and coach you, and share with you guys how I've done it, how I currently do it, and as a coach and as a mentor and someone who does pretty well when people reach out to me, ultimately what I look for when I'm looking to work with some of these people. So that's today's podcast topic, is how to show you guys to get around proximity of power and how to get around powerful people and ultimately get these people to mentor you. So again, I'm a product of mentors. I make no disclaimer about that, guys. It's not, as much as I'd like to say I'm 100% self-made, while it is true, I did put in the work myself. The reality of it is, guys, is everything that I've learned to this point, a majority of it is self-taught, but a large portion of that, guys, are things that I have learned through coaches and mentors that I have hired. I've reached plateaus in my life. I've reached these points, I call them like sticking points, where I was unable to move forward or progress in life. And I realized it was important to get people around me that could teach me and help me elevate to that next level of where I wanted to be. So that's the point today, is how to show you guys how to get around these kind of people and what the importance of that is. Realistically, too, what I want to do is put a different thought in your guys' mind, too, as we talk about hiring mentors and, getting these people to come work for you. One thing that I've always done a little bit different when I've looked at these relationships with mentors that I'm trying to hire to come into my life is I look at it from a way of how can I become friends with this person? And there's a reason for that. And so I want you guys, as you guys are listening to this podcast today, and I'm kind of sharing with you how I do things, hopefully it will make sense to you guys. And I'm going to plant some seeds in your mind on how you guys can do this. And maybe you guys have these people in your mind already, of people that you want to get coached by and people you want to get mentored by, a high caliber, high quality person that may be further down the road than you are in whatever aspect you're learning to, grow or scale in. How can you get these people to stay around? The approach that I've always taken is, yes, there's a couple different ways that you guys can get in front of these people, but really there's 2 ways I think that are most important on when you're trying to get in front of people that have a position of power or somebody that's much further up or somebody you're looking to get coached by. Option number 1 is you guys can basically pay. I call it pay to play is what it is. You go to this person and you say, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay you to coach me or teach me. Now, not everybody wants to be a coach. Not everybody that's out there crushing it and killing it in life would make a great coach. They're great at what they do, but they have zero desire. I'll share a story with you guys quickly, and some of you guys have heard it before, on somebody that I actually convinced to help coach me on some of my e-commerce businesses who is not a coach, has zero intentions of coaching, doesn't want to coach, but I kind of, twisted his arm a little bit in becoming my coach, and it paid off tremendously for me. So that's the first way, basically, is pay to play. If they have a coaching program and you're really looking to get in front of this person, that's going to be number one. Number two is you focus on adding value to these people. Now, I want you guys to kind of imagine how busy some of these people possibly are. And I only know this because when I first started reaching out to people, there would be people further down the line than I was. I would shoot them a message. I would try to call them and try to get in front of them and say, hey, I'd like you to teach me and coach me. And most of the time they'd blow me off. This may have happened to some of you guys in the meantime too, where people reach out to you ultimately and they want you ask them to coach you ask them to hire you, ask them for advice or tips, and ultimately they don't respond or they blow you off or they're not receptive to it. I didn't really understand this. And when I was younger, I kind of thought these people were assholes. I was like, man, truth be told, guys, I had like an entitled attitude towards it, or an entitled outlook, where I kind of felt like, hey, if I'm making the effort to reach out, they should just coach me or teach me or just answer my question. And if they don't, they're a jerk. Completely wrong way to look at that. And it didn't get me very far. So if you guys are one of those people that just, tend to reach out and ask for advice all the time for free, and, you're not really adding much value back to that person, either through monetarily paying them, or you're not adding value or something of benefit that can help them as well, don't expect them to take time out of their day to help you guys with this either. Here's the thing with it, and I'm going to put this in basic terms, for example, in the real estate. So I'm in real estate. I own a real estate brokerage. I run a successful real estate team. And within that, I have many agents here in our brokerage. We have a ton of amazing talent that I've worked very hard to attract, amazing quality people that I pour into. And most importantly, we have quality people that are here to learn from me and learn from other agents in our brokerage and learn from our culture to help their business continue to scale and grow. I came to the realization that by just giving free real estate advice to any person that DM me or asked for help all the time that was over with other brokerages was basically devaluing my brand. It was devaluing and not respecting the people that come to our brokerage to work for us, because ultimately they're here. They pay office fees. They pay us some commission splits to learn from us, to coach, to get coaching for me, to get coaching and training. So if I got people here that are in our brokerage paying for these resources to help their business grow, what am I showing them by giving free value and free information away to other people? So I never really understood and grasped it until I became a business owner and I saw that side of the lens for it myself. So again, I do offer coaching, but it is a paid program now. If people want to get coaching from me, I tell them two ways. You can either come into my brokerage and become an agent, integrate yourself into my culture and my environment. We're going to pour into you and help you grow your business, or you can pay for private coaching outside of that. But I no longer tend to just give away all of my real estate advice, tips, and tricks, because it devalues my brand, and it's basically devalues the agents that come and coach from us. So if you imagine that for the people that do have clients that they currently coach and help, they're most likely not going to do it for that reason. The second reason in this, guys, is that truth be told, there's just a bunch of assholes out in this world. So that's what we call them, assholes. They ask you a ton of questions. They ask you for a ton of help. They ask you for advice. They're the ones that are in your DMs all the time. Hey, help me, help me, help me. And they take zero action. I've had a ton of people do this to me over, the last few years. They'll reach out, they'll ask for advice. I'll take time out of my day, which is very limited right now, to respond to them, give them, my thoughts. Here's how you handle, here's how you do this. And then they do nothing with that advice that I just gave them. In essence, it's disrespectful to me, because you're asking me for advice. You're asking me to take time out of my day to interact with you and give you that feedback and that advice. And then they ultimately do nothing with it. I just wasted my time responding and giving them advice or answering their questions that they didn't have any follow through or commitment to. So people that are much higher up on the level than you are, people that are much higher up on the level than I am, that I reach out to, once you understand that you're not the only person asking them for advice or for help in the DMs and things like that, or asking for free advice, you'll understand that there's a reason why most of these people are kind of reserved and shut off. They don't have the time. It's not that they're not helpful people. It's not that they don't want to help people. It's just that traditionally, when you get people that have moved up the success ladder, a lot of people underneath them ask for help and ask for advice. However, they don't have any follow through, and they'll gladly take all of your free time if you're willing to just give it to them for free. So most likely that's why you're not getting responses from these people, is because, number one, you're not paying for their time to get in front of them, or you're not adding any value back to them, right? Hey, how can I help you with your business? So I learned these two things early on when I got into my real estate business. Now, let me rewind back into this, and I'm going to share with you guys how I arrived at the way that I do things now and how I was doing things backwards to hopefully help you guys out. When I first got into real estate, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never done real estate before. I was pretty good at sales. I was pretty good at marketing. I had a lot of faith and trust in myself. I knew I had a solid work ethic, but truth be told, I got a real estate license and I was turned loose to go sell homes under the supervision of my broker. However, my broker at the time just didn't do things the way that I did things. He wasn't a social media marketer. He wasn't an online marketer. He didn't do any of those things. So he kept me in line with the rules, the regulations, and he gave me some advice on, hey, what do you do for marketing? I remember asking him, well, you go out and you put hangers on doors and you go door knock. That's all great things, which that may have worked pre-social media, and it may still work now if that's in your personality type. But I was too stubborn and I was too arrogant, I'll say that, to ask anybody for help. I didn't want to reach out and say, hey guys, what can I do to help? Can I hire a coach? Can you help me? And my learning curve on that, guys, it cost me a lot of money. I ended up dropping a couple $1,000s on mailers that didn't work. I didn't get any calls back on for that. The messaging wasn't right. The targeting wasn't right. The neighborhood wasn't right. I was doing a lot of things wrong my first year and a half in real estate that cost me a lot of mistakes, where looking back, had I just gone back to a very successful agent and said, can you coach me? Can I teach you? Or can I go on your team and model underneath you what you're doing? It probably would have saved me a shit ton of mistakes, guys. So fast forward 2-3 years, once I finally figured it out, I decided, hey, it's time to start a team. So this time around, I learned my lesson. Maybe I should go find somebody that runs a successful team and they can maybe teach me or coach me on what it's going to take to be successful when it comes to running a team. You see, I was more interested in learning the things that I didn't want to make the mistakes, right? It wasn't necessarily the knowledge. I understood the concept of a team, but I wanted to hear or learn from somebody that could save me a lot of mistakes too. That's the thing about coaching that not a lot of people see the value in, is they think that they're just paying for the fundamentals or the education. If you do X, Y, Z, you'll be successful. If you use this tool, you'll be successful. Sometimes the more valuable knowledge also lies in, don't do this because I did this and this is what happens. Don't spend your money here, because if you do, you're going to waste it. You're better off spending it here. So sometimes just having that person that's been there, done that, that's more experienced down the road from you, kind of being your, look behind the bushes or the trees that you haven't seen yet because they are there now, and telling you what not to do is worth every damn penny. Otherwise, it could cost you a lot of money trying to figure it out. So ultimately, what I did was I went and hired a coach or a mentor who was very high up. Now, here's the deal. I went to him and approached him and offered to add him value. At that time, I was very well versed in e-commerce, and I knew from what I had heard that he was trying to potentially do some e-commerce stuff, some online digital marketing and things of that nature. So I went to him and we kind of talked and we introduced each other, and I said, hey, are you willing to coach me and teach me? And he said, I don't know, I haven't really coached on scaling teams and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, well, you're very successful at it. I would love for you to teach me. And in exchange, I know that you're trying to learn a little bit about this on the e-com stuff, and I absolutely dominate in that world. Let me show you all the tools, the resources, the tips, the tricks, the behind the scenes, and I'll show you how to get your e-com stuff scaled up and going. So we did a value exchange there. I offered something to him that he had wanted, and in exchange, he offered something to me, and it helped me really skyrocket my team right away. We came out the gate swinging. We did good, and for 3 years, ran a very successful team, low overhead, had a low amount of agents, and a high deal volume ratio, simply because some of the stuff that he taught me, and I also implemented my own twist on it. So thinking back on that, had I not hired him, I probably would have made a ton of mistakes. It probably would have took me an extra year or so to kind of figure out or get in my groove. But by him telling me, I tried this, don't do this, do this is how you structure, this is how you set it up, it made me successful much quicker down the road. Fast forward now, when I went to hire an e-com coach, guys, you guys have probably heard this story before, but I'll share it one more time because I want you guys to really grasp the reason behind this. Now, my philosophy on this, when you guys are going to hire coaches and when you guys are trying to get into a proximity of power with somebody, you can do this two ways. You can look at it as, I'm going to hire a coach and I'm going to hire a mentor for a singular transaction. I'm going to pay them, or I'm going to add value and they're going to teach me how to do something, which is great. You're definitely going to extract the information you're going to get. You're definitely going to extract the knowledge that you need to get out of that. But personally, guys, I like to take this one step further. You see, one thing I know about people that are high performers and higher achievers that ultimately you guys may be looking for, there's a couple things you need to understand about these people. Number one, the reason you're probably attracted to this person is because they possess certain traits that you feel like you also have inside. However, they're better at projecting those traits out there. They're much stronger at that. They can basically articulate them better, and maybe they can execute on them better. But there are personality traits that that person has that you also see in yourself that is maybe magnified through them. So think about it. Right now, think about some of the people that you follow. Think about the people that you're influenced by. Think about, some of the people maybe you've hired, they have coached and mentored you. There's probably many other people in their spaces, but there's a reason that you are drawn to that person, wanting to learn from them, admiring them, influenced by them. And it's most likely because there are some similarities between you and that person, most likely. So that's one thing to understand about that. Now, why would you say that that's important, or why you might be asking that? The reason being is my philosophy on this is I always like the analogy of if you're going to bet on anybody when it comes to a horse race, bet on the jockey, not on the horse. The horse is obviously the object that's racing in it, but the jockey is the one that is always going to be putting in the work, has the skills, has the knowledge on how to guide the horse to win to success. So what I mean by that is always bet on the person. It's never necessarily a company or a product that you guys should believe in. It's the individual that is constantly looking to grow and scale. So my analogy on this is important because the way that I look at things when I go to hire somebody is I'm trying to elevate my circle. I'm trying to elevate the people that I have around me at any given time in my life at this phase of my life right now. I am trying to have the highest quality people, the highest income earning people, the people that are always constantly evolving, growing, creating, because those are people that I want to be around. That's the kind of person that I like to be. I like to create. I like to evolve. I like to grow. So the thing is, if you're looking at this from a singular transaction where you're going to hire a mentor to coach you, and then you pay them to teach you a singular thing, and then they move on, well, now you have elevated and you're to their level. However, that person most likely is going to continue to grow and scale. If they're successful in business here, odds are they're going to continue to be successful and take on other business endeavors and continue to grow. So you can take advantage of that by basically learning to convert these mentors into being friends with you. Possibly you can build a bond, or you can focus on building a friendship with these people as well too. That is how I approach things when I go to hire a mentor. So if you keep that in mind now, as you're looking at these people, there's a couple of different options you have, as you can see. You could either pay to get in front of them and teach them. You can either, add some value back to them, add so much value and teach them things, or you can basically focus on also trying to become a friend with them. The easiest way most likely to ever get in front of a mentor or coach, because they're very busy and they're always getting pitched some new idea or some new person wants something from them, is to simply pay for their time to get them in front of you. And then once they're in front of you, take the knowledge that you need. And in the meantime, also focus on being a high quality individual yourself that can add value to their life and potentially turn into a friendship so that you can maintain that and keep that high quality person in your circle. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. That's one of the ways that I do it. To the point, guys, you've heard me say it before, but I'm going to share this story one more time as an example because it's more relevant today than anything. So I had a gentleman that I wanted to coach me on the e-commerce business. This guy was absolutely killing it. I've been following him for a while. What actually caught my attention about him was he had posted a video of driving a Lamborghini, and I'm a Lambo guy. So already we have a relation there. I'm like, man, this guy's a younger guy. He looks like he's around my age. He does online sales. I didn't exactly know what, but I knew he did some online sales. He was selling on Amazon. He was selling on eBay. I at the time was selling on Amazon. I at the time was selling on eBay. So I'm like, all right, we got some connections here. At that time, he had gotten his account shut down on Amazon and got booted out. And I remember he had made a whole video about it. And ironically, I had my account shut down on Amazon at one point or another for not shipping products out fast enough because I was out of town for a funeral. So there we go. There's the connection now. I'm like, man, this guy's into the same cars I'm into. He sells on the same platforms I do. And this happened to him. And then he starts to evolve. He's talking about how he transitions into this software. He made a couple Facebook stories about it at the time. And I'm following him. I'm like, man, the correlation's lining up completely. I'm going through all the same stuff. So I would start messaging him and asking him for advice. Hey, I would love to hear what you're doing. And he would read my messages and he would ignore me. And I'll get a little frustrated because I'm like, man, I feel like I'm messaging this guy asking for advice and he just continues to ignore me. What's going on here? So then I see him post up, he buys a house and, he was getting ready to put a pool in this house, and he was sharing a little bit of frustration about things happening with the contractor. So I tried to go in there and I add some value because I had built a couple swimming pools. So I was like, hey, maybe you should try this. This is how I did it. I ran into the same problem you did. This is how I overcame it. And it actually ended up saving me a ton of money. So he replies back. He's like, dang, thanks so much. Like, I appreciate it. That literally just solved the 2-month issue I've been having like that. So I was like, cool, glad I could add some value to you, And the conversation and dialogues kept going like that. He'd buy a car, I'd comment on it. Again, I'd ask him for business advice and he would ignore it. And I'm getting super frustrated. And I'm like, God, I'm trying to kind of get some common ground and build some kind of friendship or something with this guy to get him to teach me. And he just wouldn't do it. Fast forward basically a year later, I keep messaging him and I just tell him flat out, like, listen, dude, I'm not going to stop asking you for business advice until you just plain out tell me yes or no. You keep ignoring my messages. You're not responding to me. I'm serious. I took screenshots of like my business accounts, like showing them how much sales I was doing, showing my volume. I'm like, I'm not just some newbie starting out. Like, I get it. I know you probably don't want to waste your time, but I'm not that guy. I execute and I don't waste time. So I was trying to prove the point that, like, I'm going to follow through for you. I'm not going to waste my time here if you spend it on me. Again, he reads it and ignores it. So time keeps going by and I keep bugging him. I'm pretty persistent at this point because I know that this guy has the knowledge that I need, and I know we're super relatable. He explains things that make sense to me. His dollar volume, his sales, all those things are there where they need to be. So fast forward, guys, I get a phone call from him one day out of the blue. He finally reaches out and he's like, okay, you've been asking for this opportunity and I've decided to give it to you. You've been persistent. So here's what I'm going to do. You can pay me X amount of dollars to coach you. I'm going to bring you out to, Lake Powell for a week, and you're going to hang out on my yacht, and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about e-commerce. I'll show you the whole curtains behind my business. I'll bring my product sourcer with me. I'm going to bring the guy that runs all my Facebook ads and creatives. I'll come and a couple of my other top, executives that work with me, and I'll show you the whole structure of our company and answer any question you need, and we're going to have a really good time. It was a very large dollar amount. I'm going to be honest with you guys, at the time, especially when I wasn't making that much money. But I was so committed to getting in front of this guy because I knew that he had the knowledge and the information that I needed. So I paid for it. I paid him. I said, no problem at all. We're going to go. My wife thought I was friggin' insane. She's like, you're going to shoot some random guy you saw on Instagram some money to go do coaching. And I was like, listen, I've been following this guy for a year. He knows what he's talking about. I know it. I just, I had a good feeling about it. So I paid him. We went up there, and sure enough, the guy absolutely delivered on everything that he said that he was going to do. With that being said, guys, I told myself I was going to make it a point, because as we're sitting there on this guy's yacht out of Lake Powell, all these toys, all this stuff, he's just a really down-to-earth dude. And I said, this is the kind of high-quality person I need in my life. This is the kind of friend that I want around me. Not necessarily because he just had the knowledge, but just because he's one of those guys that's always pushing, always going hard. So I was like, if I could be around this guy as he elevates, I'll most likely elevate too. So this is why I work so hard on building friendships with these mentors. And this is why I hope you guys learn to take the same approach too, and bet on the jockey, not on the horse, not on the product, not on the service, but bet on the people that are really good at it. Because as they evolve through life, most likely these people are going to keep pushing and driving, and they're going to keep elevating. The problem is if you look at them from just a mentor standpoint, all you're going to say is, I'm just going to pay you to teach me and coach me, and you're not going to actually work on adding value and potentially becoming a high quality, high value person yourself and develop a friendship with them. They're going to be here. You're going to pay them to kind of get to where they're at as far as learning and coaching. And then as they continue to elevate, you're going to be stuck right where you're at. But the key is that if you can maintain these friendships and you can become friends with these people, keep these people in your circle, and eventually, you guys are adding value to each other. You're helping them with things that they need, and maybe you're, better at certain things in life than they are, vice versa. Now that you've paid to get your foot in the door with them, you can maintain this relationship, become friends. As they continue to elevate, most likely those opportunities that they create, the businesses, endeavors that they eventually go into, you're now getting to kind of go along with them on that ride because you're now in those circle. So this is what I've done for the last probably 7 years of my life, and I finally have gotten some pretty damn high-quality people in my life. You just have to understand their perspective, too. Again, if you guys are reaching out to these people for help, if you see people online, if you see people out there absolutely dominating and killing it in any area or aspect that you want to be dominating and killing it, you're asking them for help and they're blowing you off, try to understand things from their perspective too, right? Do they see you as just an asshole right now? Are you adding any value back to them? Is there any resources, knowledge, or anything that you have that can help benefit them to take time out of their day to give back to you for that? Because I can promise you, most likely, most people that are doing very well, most of these guys you see online or girls that you guys see online, they genuinely do like helping people. The simple fact of it is, though, is people will freely take their time, especially online where it costs nothing but a couple seconds to shoot people a DM. They'll take all of that time and energy for free. I know because people do it to me all the friggin' time. I love helping people. I love seeing people win. But I also get a ton of people that message me and hit me up asking for advice and help, and I'll take time out of my day and I'll respond and I'll try to help them, and then they do absolutely nothing. They stay in the same spot because that education was just given freely right back to them and it means nothing. I have people in my private coaching programs that actually pay for my knowledge and my help, my expertise, and guess what? Because they're invested into that, they actually listen, they execute, and they go dominate. Making money in the coaching programs, most likely for somebody at a high level, is not their bread and butter. They do a lot of other things. They do the coaching as a way to help people, but they make people pay for it as a barrier to entry to show that they have some skin in the game and they're committed to learning the knowledge that they're asking to receive from you. So if you guys realize that and you guys learn to understand that, next time you guys go to approach these people that you guys admire, or you go to approach a high quality person, and maybe it's not even a coach, maybe it's not a business person, it's not a mentor, anything like that. It's just a high quality, high caliber person that you want to attract into your life. You want to bring them into your circle to help raise your quality of life as well by having high quality friends and high quality people surrounded by you. Think about the value that you're adding to these people too. What are you bringing to the table to them that's going to make them say, hey, I definitely want to get to know you a little bit more. I definitely want you around me as more too. It's not always money, guys, because again, some people don't really care about acquiring more money to coach people. Sometimes they as well need high quality, high caliber people. It may not be a monetary thing, but if you have other skills and knowledge, which everybody has some kind of skill, they have some things that they're good at. The key is to try to find out what skills you have or what personality traits or character traits or anything of that nature that you can use to leverage that would be of benefit and value to these people as well too. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. I wanted to share that and hopefully help some of you guys level up out there if it's listening. For those of you guys that are looking to attract a higher quality, higher caliber person or quality experience, get in more proximity of power with higher up people, those are some ways you guys can do it. Those are some tools you guys can take and implement to hopefully help you guys get your foot into some of these circles. One more story I want to share with you guys before we get done here. You know, for example, I've got a couple of my listings. I do some really high-end property, and I like to get creative with this when I go into listing agreements. And I've been selling some properties that are pretty high price point as of recently. And, you know, for me, at some point, it gets to the point where what can I do to add more value? I want to get more high quality, people into my life. So on a couple of my listings or what I've done in the past before, this is just for those of you guys that are in real estate, the individual that I had sold, one of the couple of individuals I sold a house, but one of them I had sold for in particular was very well connected to some very high up people. I've been following this person for a while. I know who they are, very well known. I'd gotten the opportunity to list one of their properties. And, he said, all right, you want to go ahead and list it? And I said, I'll tell you what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a deal with you. I'll actually sell your property at a little bit of a discount. And that's it. I'm not asking for anything in return up front, no obligation to pay me anything more. However, if I do a good job, I show up, I perform, I follow through on everything I say I'm going to do, I get your property sold, I'm going to leave it up to you to go ahead and maybe figure out a way to compensate me a way that you feel is just. Now, a lot of people may ask, Blake, what the hell are you doing? Why would you not just charge commission or full commission on that? But what's more important to me is elevating my circle. That is more important to me is how can I pay to get my way in front of more people that are of higher quality and higher caliber that can maybe teach me something? Well, this particular individual could be that bridge between where I'm at now and some people that are a little bit higher up than me. This particular person could be the connector, right, for that. So I approached them on this and, hit them with the business proposition. I'll tell you what, I'll sell it at a discount. And then for what I'm discounting on the back end in exchange, if I do a great job, why don't you connect me with somebody that you know that you think could be of benefit to me that could help elevate me a little bit? And he paused for a minute and he's like, I really like that. And you're the first person out of all the real estate transactions I've ever done that has actually approached me with this manner. And he was super cool about it. He was actually stoked. He's like, that's extremely creative of you. And I've got 3 people in mind right now that I know if this goes through, we get it all done, I'll go ahead and get you connected. I'll get you in the room with those people. Now, how much more money is that worth being able to get in front of these people that have a more higher proximity of power than just getting a paycheck on some of that? The cool part about it was this person's really good at social media, marketing, influencing, and things of that nature. And as we're at his house taking pictures, getting it ready to list, he spent 3 hours with me alone dialing in on some of my business. He's like, listen, you do really good at this. I would try this. This is something that I've done in the past that didn't work. Here's why. Let me show you the back end of my advertising and show you what's working in the conversion. So I just got 3 hours of personal coaching also from this person who's very high up on like the marketing perspective, simply by getting creative on a listing rather than just saying, hey, give me the money and let me go about my job. I said, hey, how about I'll do it a little bit of a discount on the back end, compensate me in ways that you feel could benefit my business. I'm going to leave it up to you because I know you're a smart person. I know you're well connected. I know you know a lot of people. I know you have a ton of knowledge in the marketing and advertising industry as well. So why don't you compensate me in a way that you feel would be beneficial to me as well as a trade-off on top of that? And again, guys, I could already tell you just even that 3 hours that I got, it was extremely beneficial, gave me a ton of good ideas. So these are just some ways that you guys can get creative to get in front of people and elevate your guys' circle. As always, I hope that this was beneficial. If it's something that you guys found to be helpful to you, if it's something that you guys found, I'd love a thumbs up on YouTube and give me a 5-star review over here on my podcast, whatever platform you guys are listening on, and share this with somebody that you guys think this could benefit or help. That's the whole reason I do this for you guys. I don't make any money off of this. I don't get anything from it. The whole reason I make these podcasts and these videos for you guys is in hopes to help elevate those around me and give back and just teach some of the things that I am learning. So again, if you guys know somebody that could learn or benefit from this, please do me a favor and share this with them. And as always, if you guys are looking for private coaching, I do have a private coaching program. We have a group program, super affordable, like crazy affordable. I pretty much do it for damn near nothing of my time, but it's an amazing group where we get a bunch of individuals together, business owners, entrepreneurs, and we talk about weekly mindset coaching. You guys can find that at www.blakeclark.com. Give that a check out again, www.blakeclark.com. And I would love to have you guys in there. I think you would get massive benefit from it as well if you guys are looking for personal development coaching. As always, guys, get out there. Let's crush it.